Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 300, and today we're going to be doing battle with the Yetis. And so I feel like this is a timely video. If you're a daily follower, you saw our previous video where we were talking about Fiora Shyvana, and I feel like a lot of the discussion in that video is quite relevant with what we're going to be bringing forth today. And so to give you a little backstory, if you're not familiar with that previous video, Ruben Zoo hit up the Twitter over the weekend, started talking about the Fiora Shyvana deck that he'd been using to climb up into the top 50, the top 30 or so of Masters, had a load of success with it, and he was kind of presenting that deck to the land. And one of the things that I have to do with that kind of space is be like really critical about it. If you're not familiar with Riot Ruben Zoo, he was a Pro Tour champion in Magic. He has loads of success there. He's hit rank 1 in his ventures here in the lands of Runeterra, just outside of the development stuff. Absolutely fantastic player. And so when he comes forth and presents a deck like that, you have to kind of ask yourself, is this the next iteration of something like Aphelios Fizz, which was the real deal? Or is this deck just Ruben Zoo being better than everyone else that he's playing? It's not necessarily a strong deck, but he is much stronger than his average opponent, and he's able to squeak out those wins that us peasants down in the lower regions of the ranks just wouldn't be able to do. And so that ties in quite nicely with the Yetis, as over the past few days, RickoRex over on the EU shard managed to pull off rank 1 on the shard with Yetis. And looking at the deck list itself, I was immediately quite skeptical. You get to taking a peek at it. It's got bloody business in it. That's garbage. It's pretty similar to a lot of the the LeBlanc Ash decks that we've seen over the course of the past year. What makes that good now, where it wasn't good over the past few weeks? Did the 4-1 patch really alter the meta to the place to where this is a good and viable deck? I don't know. And so I wanted to kind of come in and take a peek and start to look at this. And so I got word of this happening on Twitter. I've pulled up the LOR Master today, looking up at the EU ranks. He's currently hanging out at rank 7, but only has a 50%ish or so win rate at this point, so it's definitely dropped from his highlight moment. If you're looking to see the deck that he's been grinding with, it is over to the right. You can see it's got the full Yetis package, a couple copies of Might, playing Apprehend, 3 Darius, 1 LeBlanc, and then the big card to me is the Spirits Unleashed, which seems completely out of place. And so then if you're wanting to carry on a little bit further, the deck starts to get a little bit of steam behind it. People get to playing it out in the wild, and you can see its win rates here aren't that spectacular. Typically when we see a high-level player come out and really kind of take over the meta with a strong deck, you'll see these win rates sitting up closer to 60% as it hits that kind of 1,000 match mark. And then as the knowledge spreads about it and people get to testing with it more, and more of us low-level peasants get their hands on the deck, you see the win rate start to plummet. And so for it to already be hanging out around 50% and one of the versions hanging out below, I'm a little bit skeptical of what's going on there. But nonetheless, we do want to come in and give it a shot. I've played quite a few practice games with this, and I have a few things to say about it. Bust always has an opinion of his own, so let's bring it forward. And so it's not a deck that I think doesn't have a place in the world. I think it can certainly exist within the constructed realms of Legends of Runeterra, but I think it's probably best considered as being kind of a best of 3 deck and not a best of 1 or a deck that you're going to be carrying on to the ladder with. But to try and take this and make it usable and worthwhile in the world of the ladder, I had to first stop and ask myself a few questions. Number 1, why are we playing Bloody Business? The card is just garbage. Is it really powerful enough, making copies of Abominable Guardian, to warrant the inclusion of a card like that? I disagreed. I felt like it was pretty terrible. You ran into too many games to where the Bloody Business just didn't do anything, or it had to copy a shitty unit, to where I just didn't want it. Thing number 2, why are we playing Spirits Unleashed? Spirits Unleashed makes a lot of sense in a variety of decks. It's most commonly getting played in the likes of either a Sejuani Gangplank kind of deck, where it makes sense, right? You can play it on the opponent's turn, deal the point of damage, makes your crappy units not suck. You maybe clear out a little bit of board with it, helps tie in with cards like Make It Rain. You know, there's a lot of words I'm using that make a lot of synergies that sound pretty good. You also see it used with stuff like Braum Norra style shells, to where you're just summoning a bunch of units, giving them all a bonus. That's nice and cool. Giving Braum a bonus is great as well, so he's combat relevant. Like, I get it there, that makes sense. But as we move to this deck, like, why are we playing Spirits Unleashed with a bunch of Yetis? Is putting a 5/5 unit on the board like not enough? Is there some kind of reason within this deck outside of saying, okay, well, I'm going to AoE your board and then make my overwhelm stronger? And I'm not really feeling that. The only time I really got good synergies out of it is the Trifarian Assessor being a natural 5 attack unit, which then lets it draw the cards as soon as it comes into play. And so we have come in and removed a lot of that as well. And now it ties us into that last piece of the equation, the last big thing we talk about with every unit-based deck in the game. How do we elusive, overwhelm, or rally? And in the previous couple of videos, we did touch on the Leona Kale deck and my kind of disdain for a lot of tie-in to Might, and so that deck was playing at the Leona Kale deck. We were also seeing it a lot out of things like Tristana Nar and tying it into Tristana, and I just don't feel super comfortable counting on Might to be the big way that we overwhelm through an opponent. And so I still include the single copy here. We're going to be playing it, but we've going to focus more in on the rallies, and that solves the big problem at the end of the day, right? So we've done our thing. We've got all of our units on the board. We've got like 3 Enraged Yetis and 2 Abominable Guardians. We make that attack. We smoke our opponent's whole board, and they say, I got you, Bust. You're doomed now. You didn't deal any damage. And then you get to Shunpo and attack again. And so that's the kind of idea that we're swinging around with there. Last but not least, my final kind of problems, issues, and concerns with the deck were its lack of interactivity. The version that RickoRex was playing was limiting itself to just 3 copies of Troll Chant, 3 copies of Bloody Business, and then 2 copies of Might. That's not really enough interactivity to get my juices flowing, and so we did come in and include 2 copies of Ravenous Flock, 2 copies of Three Sisters. Ravenous Flock is one of these cards that I really kind of like cycled around a lot with this style of deck, is like we have these cheap, shitty plays like Yeti Yearling that are going to be dealing damage to the opposing unit as we're playing things like Spirits Unleashed. And with me coming in and playing things like Arachnoid Sentry, that does give us like a lot of usage towards Ravenous Flock. But then as we kind of shift away from Spirits Unleashed and play Shunpos, it weakens up a little bit. I don't play like House Spider. I had House Spiders in here for a little bit. We moved away from that. And so the Ravenous Flock does start to weaken up a little bit. But there's still no denying that this is an incredibly powerful removal spell and very efficient and ties in a lot with what we're trying to pull off. And so that's what we're going to be doing battle with today. Hopefully we can mirror a little bit of RickoRex's success, but we'll have to stop and see. And so the last thing that I was going to do with this is I really wanted a good pun for the Yetis. I feel like there should be a lot of them out there. So I took to Google. I figured we could deliver you a little bit of Yeti pun with each of these games. And so much credit to, what is this, punsandOneliners.com. Here you go. Here comes your first one from that wonderful site. A friend of mine got a Yeti tattooed on his stomach. It's his abdominal snowman. LOL. The kitty loved it. The kitty loved it. You get to see the kitty up here. Boom. She's ready for battle. I'm ready for battle. Let's dig on in. And so, up against Karma Master Yi. Let's see how this goes. We should have a little bit of time here in the early game, but we do have to worry a little bit about these tall tales. If we get the one Yeti on the board, and then the opponent has a removal spell with the tall tales on the stack, that feels abysmally terrible. And so it looks like it's going to be, a little bit slower coming into the game. We still have a pretty reasonable curve to where if we play the Ruthless Raider on 2, the Trapper on 3, immediately draw the Enraged Yeti on turn 4, we'll have the mana to drop the tall tales with it. But it's one of these cards, as you're going up against a deck like Karma Master Yi, something that may or may not have Quietus in it. If we were going to be starting off with, say, a Yeti Yearling, we'd want to be very careful in terms of if we're going to drop the tall tales or not. Oh boy, we are certainly going to be telling the tales in this game. Picking up 3 copies right from the get-go. I don't mind if I do, I guess. let's come in. This is some of the differences that you will see across from what RickoRex was putting forth. I felt like there just wasn't enough early game stuff to do. I felt like I was rolling into too many games where you have a hand like this, as to where you do have like a Trapper on turn 3 and a Tall Tales, but if you don't immediately hit the Enraged Yeti, then you're looking to go into turn 4, turn 5, without really having anything to do. I was not a huge fan of that, and so having a little bit of interact early... Oh, shit. Do something, guy. I accidentally clicked the button and didn't get our Trapper on board. Uh-oh. It's not a full disaster, but it's certainly not... certainly not ideal. But no, I didn't feel like he had enough early game stuff happening out there, and I was a little disappointed with the flow of those games. And so this one, this is just just immediate disaster mode, right? If we were looking to play the Avarosian Trapper on the previous turn, then if we don't draw the Yeti here, we still get a pretty big open attack. That was just a misclick of the century, and so hopefully we can still recover here a little bit. His board at least isn't too scary. We're ready to pop off with some of our Yetis, but again, I'm a little scared dropping Tall Tales on the board when opponent has a lot of ways to take down our Yeti. I think I'm... Okay, I feel better now. Let's start dropping it. Oh shit, he has 4 mana though? Oh, I just looked at his main mana and only saw the 3. I thought we were going to be relatively safe there, but not quite the case. But here comes the Yetis package. Got to feel pretty decent with them coming online now. Pretty strong attack for this upcoming turn, and it's looking like a pretty big Shunpo turn. So assuming that we get to, still have a unit up at the end of the day, should be able to Shunpo in and do something exciting. Would we rather save it for next turn? Interesting. I mean, we have the 7 mana that we would want to Tall Tales and then 3 Sisters Flash Freeze. Give us a little bit of protection against Master Yi and then try and Shunpo next turn. I think our attack here is still pretty good, though. I think I want to go in for the Shunpo. Like, the Master Yi having to trade with a Avarosian Trapper or just staying out of combat seems pretty terrible, you know? Seems pretty terrible. Let's see how he spends the mana, though. Oh, he just throws away his whole team? I guess we can't complain about that. No complaints here. He's got to have something, right? A scattered pod. So we're not lethal in the face of a scattered pod. I don't want to get too involved with this board. Let's just go ahead and drop the Tall Tales, and we'll Shunpo next turn. Wasn't this card at one point so good that it got banned? I can't remember. It wasn't Scattered Pod. It was like Cloud Seeker or whatever the thing is that makes a bunch of your spells cheaper. I think that's accurate. I don't think I'm making that up. It would have been back in the days of Expedition, and so not entirely certain if I'm accurate in those statements. Alright, let's see how it goes. I could see, like, slow playing the Shunpo just a little bit in the event that he's going to have a deny. But we do have, like, a lot of really good follow-up here. If he does have the deny, we can still look to Bloody Business, Ravenous Flock down the Scattered Pod. And then next turn, having 2 combat tricks with the 3 Sisters Troll Chant might be enough to get us through. Come in and take down the Eye of the Dragon instead. If he's got an additional spell to flow and put another unit on the board, it's not going to feel good. Is this really going to be a go hard? Fuck. Not ideal. He's getting really close to having Enlightened, and as soon as that karma comes down, the game's going to be over. Now without our Shunpo, I'm feeling pretty weak about this. Maybe we should have tried to bait with the... just tried to bait with the removal spells first and then follow up with the Shunpo after. If we got in with like 3 of our units on the previous turn and then 3 more this turn, the game would easily be done. Alright, but not a terrible troll chant. Gets our units through the day. If he starts dropping karmas or whatever, we can just entomb her, right? We don't have to ultimately worry about karma sticking around on the board forever. But still something I'd like to nip in the bud before she gets nasty. Master Yi coming to the party. All right. Lots of interactivity. Feels good. One cut of many. So I don't really want to spend like 1,000,000 cards on this turn. Like I think we need to kind of go about it like this. We'll put the unit in front. We'll bloody business. I want to keep our other spells online. And so here we can try and bloody business Master Yi. If this fails, we can still follow up with the 3 Sisters. But I think ideally we would be using the 3 Sisters to shut down Karma. Like we really just have to be winning on our open attack next turn. And so if we get the chance to just take her off of the board before she gets enlightened, like if she comes down this turn and then next turn they're just like, LOL, it's a couple health potions and another stupid Karma spell, and then we're never going to recover out of that. Looks like we're stuck switching into the flash freeze. A little unfortunate. But I do like coming in with the Enraged Yeti. If he has the space to where he's like, well, I want to protect my Master Yi with a bounce spell, I would much rather be playing a 1-mana Enraged Yeti as opposed to a 7-mana Ancient Yeti that we can't get back on the board. All right, well, let's see how it goes. Ultimately, I'm afraid he's just going to play Karma, make his way through the turn, right? If he blocks a single Yeti next turn, he can get out of an OTK. I just think that we're going to be short. But we'll give it a shot. That 6 damage from the earlier part of the game would have been pretty nice to have right about now. Yeah, it wouldn't have been terrible. I'm not going to lie. It would have been kind of nice to have opponent at 7 instead of 13. All right, let's see what it does. See if he stops 10 of this. We have the lethal. So if he just has stone nothing, we can win. Ugh. Yeah, looks like he's got something. All right, we'll go ahead and mark it a loss and move on. Wait and see what this spell is, but I can't imagine that this is going to be successful. Okay, GG. Oof. It's a classic mistake that I make. I tend to just click the board the whole game. It's a habit that I picked up from playing Hearthstone, to where the boards were much more clicky. And I used to just click on the screen the whole time, and that occasionally gets me into trouble with clicking that pass button. But to make it a little bit better, one could say, I tell my friend to stop telling Bigfoot jokes. Yeti still does. Got him. Boomed it real good. Okay, what do we got here? Braum Norra. Talked about that a little bit earlier. We could talk about these whispered words and card draw a little bit as this game goes on as well. But I think we have time with this match, right? This isn't a deck that's going to blow us out pretty quickly. We'll have time to get all of our Yetis on the board. And so I'm okay to keep a little bit of a greedier start. But to circle back and talk about some of these enraged Yetis and why I really like the card draw in these decks is you can run into some of these pretty awkward spots as to where you need to draw cards out of your deck that don't suck, right? You don't necessarily want to be in the space to where you're just drawing 5-mana 1/1s or 1-mana 5/5s, either one, you know. 5-mana 1/1s sound a lot worse, but you don't really want to be hitting them. And then having access to the assessors, while card draw is always nice, it does give you a lot of opportunity to just come in and punch through a lot of that potential problem in the Yetis being shuffled into the top of your deck. And so I like to stack a little bit more card draw in here with both the Assessor and the single copy of Whispered Words, just to give us that little bit of cycle to get through some of that nastiness. All right, Braum online. Let's see if this Ravenous Flock can't cause a little bit of problem for him. Gonna be a little unfortunate if he turns out to have a take heart, but good. He's got the take heart before we drop the Ravenous Flock, so we get a little bit of time to get away from that. He's unleashing the spirits. Sure. So are we going to have to entomb this Braum? I don't feel really good about having to deal with him next turn. Like, we can deal with it in time, right? We're going to draw like 100 cards next turn with the Assessor, but... Well, he's tapped out now. The Three Sisters into Ravenous Flock is just too good. Just too good, I tell you. All right, not bad. Now let's come out and draw a shitload of cards, right? Nothing wrong with that strategy, huh? Oh, Darius. I don't think Darius is going to be enough to get us the win. Right? He's got, say, he comes in and blocks a Yeti. He has another unit to block a second Yeti. We're only going to hit for 5. Darius isn't going to flip. Probably be pretty happy to refill out some cards here anyways. Let's see if we can't pick up a combat trick or a removal or something. Line up. Three Sisters, Tall Tales, and Darius. A little bit of everything, you know. All right, here comes the squad. How much damage we getting in there? Taking him down to 7. Darius is ready to go now, killing off his whole board. Sounds good. We'll have to see how we fade these junk constructs, but seems like we should be in good space. And there's always the potential to just boom him with a Decimate. So Darius flips into Decimate. It's one of the weaker flips in the game, given that you typically just win the game when Darius is on the board anyways, but it's nice to have access to it. Here he is, the big boy on board. So we should be in decent shape. I don't know if the opposing deck plays stuff like Harsh Winds. It's, of course, on the table, but it's what it would need to be getting out of a space like this. And if not, I mean, we have Three Sisters Mike to punch in for an additional 1,000,000 damage. Lash Freeze to Darius, sure. And a Portal Palooza. All right, I don't think there's any way we can lose this game with him tapped out. Oh, fuck. Take that statement back. Tasty Feyfolk coming in. Okay, as long as it's blocking way down to the right, I don't care. It's just like, how could this go wrong? Oh, fuck. There's the answer. There's the answer right away.
Just kill me.
Dead opponent ending the turn at +3. No, thank you. There we go. Now the opponent ending the turn at -10. GG, my friend. Sad Poro. I feel you. I feel you. Maybe he'll come back and listen to our Yeti jokes, though. Yeah, I need my emotes. I'm gonna have to just buy the emotes, man. I wasn't really trying to spend money on this account other than purchasing the cards in the event passes, but it just doesn't feel right not having the emotes. I get over having like the non-premium cards and the board, but I just want to express myself, you know? Let's express it this way, though. Let's take a peek. What's our next one? So, the Yeti. Oh, shit. Thing moved. Okay. The Yeti was going... Where'd it go? The Yeti was going to go public in a press conference, but he got cold feet. Boomed him. So what do we got here? Tom Kench Soraka? Ooh, that one... This one strikes me as being potentially problematic. I wouldn't feel terrible picking up things like Ravenous Flock to help us get through this one, but see what happens. This is just kind of the classic, like, oh, you're throwing a bunch of stats at me? F you. You know, that's typically what they're able to do, is just fight through a mountain of stats, and if you're not going around or getting particularly interactive, then you'll struggle. But I'm going to drop the second Yeti Yearling here. He shouldn't have anything that stops our Tall Tales next turn, but that's going to be like complete disaster mode if opponent not only plays a matchup that's good for them and not good for us, but also gets a massive tempo play and shutting down a Tall Tales. We're just never recovering from that. And so I feel good dropping this. Now, we're back in the spot I was talking about in the last game, as to where I don't want to be drawing Enraged Yetis. We need to be drawing good cards at this point, right? We have enough Enraged Yetis to go around. And so, ideally, we wouldn't be drawing any of these. It looks like we're going to be kind of stuck doing it, but it's not what I want. We can wait one turn on this Trapper. If we bring in the Yeti, you can still drop a Ruthless Raider. Maybe this upcoming turn will look a little bit better, but you need something good here. Bloody Business is serviceable.
Leave nothing standing. I understand.
See if we can't time this Bloody Business to take old Soraka down. Should be safe now. The heal plus like 3 health thing is 4 mana, right? So he should be able to say like give her a 2 heal or something, but he shouldn't be able to survive it. He's just got a second one though. All right. Can we stun our way out of this one? I think we're going to be a little bit light on damage. We just have to hit like a Shunpo or a card draw or something. Adding this Yeti, adding the Trapper to the board is probably a bit of a mistake. Darius would be the perfect draw. More Trappers, just just ruin our draws for the rest of the game. Why not? But we want to take Soraka out of combat. Don't want her just jumping in front of a Yeti and then getting the full heal and everything. All that's going to be brutal. Knew this matchup was going to be a nightmare. let's shuffle in more Yetis we don't want. I was really considering with this is like, is there ever a world to where we can play the full 3 copies of the Trifarian Assessor and then full 3 copies of the Whispered Words? Because this stuff is just brutal, and it just gets like kind of exaggerated against Soraka. Like this is just a nightmare matchup, but there are a lot of other just like really grindy decks out there, and the more realistic decks you're going to play against are going to be things like Annie, Ezreal, and stuff. And so it's nice to have access to just the additional card draw when you really need to grind against like a Lord Broadmane deck. But we'll see what we draw. If we don't hit a Darius or a Shunpo or a card draw on this next turn, the game's gonna be done. Did he just win? Okay. Good job, I guess. Ooh. I guess he had fun there. Oh shit. Oh man. We got to move on to the next one. So here comes one. I'm ready for this. Are you ready? So the Yeti sent me a huge pile of snow and then a message saying, "Get my drift." Got him. Got him real good. He got in that snow drift. All right, though. So what do we got here? Our first appearance of the Abominable Guardian. I think we need to come in and just hold on to it so that we can so that we can make sure that this play can be made. But this is like the reason that you would be playing the reason that you would be playing cards like Bloody Business is to cheat a bunch of these things on the board. I just don't think it goes right enough to then want to still play cards like Bloody Business, and so let that one go.
I seek a weapon worthy of Nagakeburos.
All right, he's bringing in all the thunder. Nagikiboros be blessed. So if we can keep our Yeti Yearling alive, play Abominable Guardian next turn, or I'm sorry, play the Ancient Yeti next turn, we can't get the Guardian in for free. It's a matter of whether or not that's, just worth it. Can take this damage out of the Aatrox Cain. He's never going to be able to kill us, and so we can just kind of freely take that damage. It's going to take him quite a while to get a Cain up and running, really threaten anything coming out of this damage. Bringing the Discord onto the Yeti. It's interesting since we're just going to attack with our Ancient. Why wouldn't you save it for him? I think he was kind of aware of the Abominable coming on board, but probably picked the wrong one. Yeah, there's Cain bringing the Aatrox to hand. Scary stuff. All right, then we're ready with the flash freezes. We got some we got some Ravenous Flocks should we need it. We're gonna have to definitely come in and block a bit this round, but were we being too greedy? Never being too greedy, right? Alright, well, I guess we'll throw away some of our units. We're going to follow up with this Ravenous Flock onto Cain. How bad could this be, right? Alright, so we'll at least get the Cain off of the board. Things got pretty bad pretty quick. Pretty bad pretty quick. We gotta pick up a good draw here. I wasn't expecting so much death from our units. This was just painful. So what's he got left? An Aatrox and then just like 2 or 3 more cards? Oof. Second Shunpo was not good. The other way to kind of like feel about these Shunpos is just being like, well, he wouldn't have been much better as a Spirits Within or Spirits Unleashed, whatever it's called. So we can at least do this right. Ravenous flock down the old Aatrox. You're not doing that with the. You're not doing that with Spirits Unleashed. Ugh. Should probably just be dead here, right? I guess he can. There's a chance he only has one unit to load up all the Darken with. We're just gonna find ourselves Shunpoing this again, aren't we? Best removal spell. Fuck. Best removal spell 2022. Come at him with the Shunpos. Alright, GG. That was awkward. I guess I wanted to display the Abominable Guardian, but we probably just shouldn't have kept it. Oh shit. I keep forgetting we got to do this. Let's scroll down a little bit. Oh, there's not too many on here. This one's not a joke. If you like these Yeti jokes, have a look here for an alphabetical list of joke topics. Soak that one in, fellas. Enjoy that one. Impress your friends and family with the usage of that one. What do we got here? Oh, going up against the old elites, so probably want to hang on to the Sentry Flock combo. See if we can't find anything else a little bit cheaper in here. If he's gonna be making like a big curve draw on us, having access to the removal spell is gonna be important.
Take this. I'll make 'em for the show.
So now this is where you have to worry a little bit in the sense that like, okay, well we can either play the 3/3, then he's gonna play a 4/4, and then we just can't do anything. Or we can just try an Arachnoid Sentry Flock, a better unit here in the future. I think I want to just try and get our 5/5s going. They strike me as being, bigger and a little bit safer than trying to punch down any of this early stuff. Looks like we're going to get hit with a Bannerman next turn. Can, like, apprehend Ravenous Flock, this Battlesmith, if we want. Is that ever worthwhile? Yeah. I don't know. We've already got Darius in hand. It feels like when you have the Darius, it's a little greedy to... it's a little greedy to go otherwise. I'm going to flock him down. I assume we're just going to take the 4 out of the defender. Tear down the Bannerman. Alright. 50-50 on this one being a Yeti. There he is. Welcome to the board, friend. See if we can't get another one of your friends down here.
For king and country.
Aaron's okay. He's losing out on all of his stats this turn. So we can mess with him next turn.
Fight or die. I'm actually here. Ready to do my part.
It's down to 4 mana. Curious what world this guy actually has combat tricks, right? This should still be okay. Going for the 3 sisters. It's like, why is he making all these terrible attacks though? Is this he doesn't? It's like it looks like a back-to-back when he starts doing stuff like this, but he definitely doesn't have the mana to play back-to-back. So this should be okay. Like we played Ranger's Resolve in this style of deck. I would assume he's probably got a combat trick here. We could have looked to have gone for just a flash freeze, but I don't think it's necessary. Let me just go for the kill. Like if he has the sharp sight, he's going to still get the strike in with Garen anyways. so it doesn't develop a whole lot. Timely. Look at all that. Just need a little bit more time here. Even if he has like Jarvan coming in, I think we still feel pretty okay about this.
Hold the line!
Steady, soldiers.
Champion strength. Ew. That's kind of nasty. But Garen's the scary one to me. We'll come in and take him down. We can block down a bunch of this stuff. Like I feel like if we trade out 6 of our units for 3 of his units, then we're still in a pretty decent space. But it's not even to the point to where he's going to be bringing a big lethal on us.
Will be quick.
I think we can keep back at the end of the day, like LeBlanc and.
Tread carefully.
Is that too much? We are just dead, aren't we?
I am everywhere. I am
Huh.
everyone.
I guess we should have stopped and calculated that. We could have killed 2 of his units instead of killing Garen, but now we're just gonna take 7. Ugh.
Real battle.
Oh shit! I marked it a loss, and then he didn't attack with everyone.
Certain
Okay,
useless pawn.
so you're saying there's a chance.
What could have been?
Okay, I like having a chance. We can't get like the big booms this turn. I'm just trying to envision this mirror image Darius and how sweet it's gonna be. we can't quite do it right now, but maybe it's coming up. You can do it, friends. You can recover. You can bring it back.
I have my orders. We fight for those who cannot.
Garen.
Has your armor even seen battle, boy?
Okay. At least he wasted all of those stats on his turn. As it stands, if he tries to open attack on us, we only look to take 6.
Our spirits. We
Well, I guess taking things you don't deserve can only go so far. But we would have been. It's just so tough leaving that Garen in. But I mean, maybe maybe it's not as bad as I'm giving it credit for, in the sense that if he wants to attack with Garen twice, he's gonna die, right? Maybe he had something on there as to where. Now that I think on it more, I think the way to have probably done it is, how big is this Garen going to be? Is it going to be a 6-10? He's going to be a 10-10? Assuming that he starts like hooking good units, like the way that I would envision using Garen in that space being flipped with being ready with the champion strength, is you're just going to hook in the small units so that he gets to survive and do battle on the next turn. Like you're not. Like you ideally win the game there, but you're probably not going to do it, and so you're looking to hook the small ones. But I think we could have maybe either just played one bloody business and killed something, and then after that point we can maybe bloody business down the Garen before the second attack comes in, or I don't know. I don't like how we did that. I feel like we probably could have recovered at that turn, but. Oh shit, I'm missing it. I'm missing out. Hang on, let me scroll up a little bit. I was on a ship and spotted the abominable snowman in a uniform. Turns out he was their chief Yeti officer. LOL. Got him good with that. I don't get it. What's a chief Yeti officer? Is that a? I'm not up into boating. I don't. I don't get your sweet boating references, bro. I don't get them. All right, though. Norra coming down. What's up? See if we can't start getting some of our Yeti friends moving. We'll drop the trapper here. See what it's capable of. Get our friends cycling in. Not drawing any good cards because we got those Yetis in there. Alright, let's swing. Much rather him cycle now than when he has portals in his deck. Gonna send in that pokey stick. Take all the cycle with 0 portals. I feel you. I feel you. Ooh, Yeti right on top. He is ready for battle. All right, and then we can't just overbank 6, right? we gotta start dropping sentries on the board or something. Maybe he'll do something to make us feel a little bit different, but a pretty awkward hand that we're dealing with here. Sure. Nah, I'm not going to play a Three Sisters to protect that unit. We'll just get the sentry on board. He still battles reasonably well against all of the Norra cards. He's gonna start spiking portals, but it just doesn't feel worthwhile to save that unit. There you go. Hit all the portals now. Well, this is a little worrisome. It's like we get to attack, and then he can either just like free block the Enraged Yeti with the Ember Maiden and take it down, or if he blocks it with the Herald, the Ember Maiden's just gonna do the damage to it next turn. All around pretty awkward. Looking to be in a pretty bad spot in this one now. Is this? How bad? Is he really going to troll chant us? Or was that just a pokey stick that he was calling back? If he troll chants, this is just disastrous, but we didn't have anything else going on. Yeah. Not bad. That's bad. I mean, we could have looked to have like bloody business to weigh the Norra, but ugh. Okay. Another pretty awkward hand. It's like I stop and try and envision like what would these cards be if we were playing the RickoRex list, and it's like the kind of comparison point for these Three Sisters is that would be a bloody business. And it's like, am I really excited in these spots to where like I could have played bloody business that game and put an Enraged Yeti on the board, right? We could have had access to a couple of more 5/5s, but is that ever going to be like winning us a game like that? Probably not. And then as I look back on these previous games, the Three Sisters has been phenomenal, and the like taking the slices of the different games, having access to the Three Sisters has just been so much better. All right, though. Let's see if this doesn't fix anything. Maybe this will fix it. So, where do Yetis go to dance? At the snowball. Ha ha! Got him. Got him with the goods. All right, this is the Elites guy from earlier. Like, how do we feel about that? Like, I want to hang on to the Ancient Yeti, but do we want to hang on to this like Sentry Ravenous Flock? I just think we're stuck doing it, right? There's not very many early plays in here, and having that kind of like tempo swing on turn 3 to where we get to take down a unit, maybe block something else, and then follow up the Ancient Yeti on turn 4. Like if all we're doing is playing Yeti Yearlings or whatever, We're not going to interact with him very favorably. Kind of curious if the mistake in that previous game was like we could have Ravenous flocked down the Battlesmith. Like I get to the point to where it's like turn 4, turn 5, and I say a Battlesmith, and I'm just kind of like, well, you know, you've already done your work. Your job is done here. And so do I really want to take him down for like this additional +2/+2 he's going to deliver throughout the rest of the game? Typically not. But I can definitely see, you know, a bit of an argument for it. This is dumb. Like, I think the proper play here is to just kill the Cythria because I don't really care about the Stony Suppressor. And now he has the means to, you know, win in combat against our Spider with the Cythria, but I think it's okay. Like, we can just trade if we have to. Make a sad noise in the process, but all right, big Yeti coming in. Even if he has the Vanguard Bannerman, I guess we'll find ourselves trading with Cythria at that point. But right here, it doesn't feel very worthwhile. He doesn't seem to have any of the real unit boosting stuff. Like this would be his Garen turn, I guess. But I think we handle Garen reasonably well. Oh, look at that. He's getting us. He's getting us real hard. We're trying to drop the tall tails, but we can't because the Stonies. We got to pay the extra mana into the Stony Suppressor. We got. We got good. Wow. All right, though. Here comes the first Abominable Guardian of the day. Only took 100 games to get there, but we did it. All right, I'm ready for battle now. I wonder if he has to drop a 4 Demacia just to stop from getting smoked.
Soldiers to me.
Well, definitely want to come in and battle. Like, we do have to lose a unit to Cythria, but as we roll into the next turn, making the rest of his units suck because Cythria, you know, lost 3 or 4 friends. It's gonna be a bonus on our side of the table. Like we talk about this in terms of Poppy, right? If you're attacking with Poppy, you would much rather be passing out +6/+6 as opposed to passing out +2/+2. As we're able to come in here and, you know, clear out a little bit of his board, makes the Cythria exceptionally weaker. His attack next turn still sucks. Like, I guess I wasn't anticipating picking up Reputation, but pretty good there. Okay.
Come so far.
He's just definitely gonna 4 Demacia this round, right? Maybe he has additional units. I think we want to keep the idea of the stun active, though. And so I'm just going to drop in the Trapper. And then if he plays 4 Demacia and we get the stun on the Vanguard Sergeant, that's great. We can still make like 1 trade with the Enraged Yeti if we want. And this just looks fine. Oh, Jarvan. Okay. Less fine. But not that big of a deal. Do we want to flash freeze the Jarvan here to keep him from taking down our Yeti? I'm a little bit more inclined just to play 3 Sisters, but I think this is good. We can look to might through the Jarvan next turn. Like, we've got him. We really just need to be not dying, right? We've got him ground down. He's got the 4 Demacia in hand, but then just 1 card after that. We've got all these spells and then additional spells with the Trifarian Assessor. I just think we just need to come in and not die. So what if we say we'll drop a Yeti? Looking to say drop a Yeti, drop a Trapper, and just pass. Like, if we can bait him out of playing a 4 Demacia, that would be great, but I'm not counting on it. And then if we can have a fully wide board next turn, just ready to block and then refill with the Assessor, I think that's pretty good. I'd love to see him just play a 4 Demacia before we attack, though. Oh, Garen. All right.
The trap is set.
Trap set, bro. I mean, so he's definitely playing it now.
Stand strong.
How much of our 5/5s do we have to give up this round? Like, if we start throwing them away, we don't get to refill with the Assessor. That's a bummer, dude.
Over there. Tread carefully.
Are we okay? Alright. Alright, fam. Oh no, this is a disaster. This is a disaster. His Jarvan's gonna flip, and we're not gonna get the kill. I had that a little bit in mind. Like, I was like, ooh, this is the kind of scary thing with Jarvan, but oh. Okay. Oof. Take him where you can get him, I guess. Take him where you can get him.
They walked around. The stories were true.
Stories were true.
Line up.
What did we catch?
Alright, well, we might have to open attack this turn, so we'll go ahead and drop in the Yeti. This does not look positive. We can add Darius, but then he's just going to get smoked by the Cataclysm. He's got too much blockers for us. Okay. GG. Painful. Painful set of games, my friends. Painful set of games. All right, let's get into that final battle. Get into that final joke. What do we got? Last one here. Something about a librarian. Did I already use this? All right, this is a good one. Are you ready? Are you ready? A man walks into a library and asks for a book on finding the Yeti. The librarian directs him to the large print section. You get it? You get it? The large print is when you use a larger font so it's easier to read, but the Yetis also leave the large prints through the snow. Very interesting. Very interesting and well done. Oof. I dig it. All right, so let's get ourselves in here. See if we can't steal a victory as we're in the final battle. We need it, man. These victories have been few and far between.
The winter's claw strikes.
I don't know. This is where I just get to like starting to think as like the question that comes to my mind is like, did we edit this deck too much from the original, and it's not being effective, kind of based on the changes that we've made, and like the real core of the deck is the Yetis, and if we're wanting to think of things like bloody business, this is our bloody business right here. It's the Three Sisters that we're about to cast, and we're just getting like annihilated in this game if we don't have access to it. Like, bloody business just doesn't do anything. The RickoRex decks aren't playing things like Ruthless Raider, and so if we look at a hand like this, fucking hush, we're just like cycling into turn 3 with literal nothing to do. Like, he is playing Trifarian Assessor or Trifarian Challengers, which just strike me as being miserably terrible as you're out here facing down. Fuck. As you're out here facing down the likes of a bunch of pokey sticks. Like I don't really want to be adding a one health unit to the board, and so it seems tough. Things tough. So my expletives coming out of this one are like we're just smaller than the Sun Guardian here, right? We need to shut it down with the Ancient Yeti, but I don't have the mana to really be dropping the Yeti in on this turn, and so this is just a shit show. Just a shit show.
Chosen of the sun.
Oh god, the Leona's gonna be flipped as well.
The sun, you must burn.
Alright. It's like in terms of being a deck that just puts stats forth on our opponents, like the opposing deck is just doing everything that we want to do
Splendor
better. Just everything we want to do just straight up better. This has just been an abysmal set of pain. Just pain. That's all these games are bringing upon us. I don't know of a better way to put it as what's happening is just pain coming down upon us. Sunhawk comes in. He's got 6/6s now, so all of our units are just too small. Pain.
I'll handle this myself.
All right, Darius. Finally, someone capable of taking down a unit. we had the Darius in, but then we are incapable of getting the Abominable Guardian on board next turn. So. Pretty cool interaction. Can't wait to see this Pale Cascade come through. If not a Pale Cascade, a concerted strike, we're about to just get smoked. there's no way around it. Yeah. Okay. GG. And so rough set of games, rough day, rough battles, and so we can pull it up and talk about it a little bit more. But this is not far from what I was really expecting to have this go. I wasn't expecting us to come out and just get, blasted down to a 1-7, but none of those games were particularly close. And it's like I'm trying to envision, what the Masters meta was looking like as he was kind of tearing through. And it's going to be a little bit different than what we saw, but if you want to say like swap out the Braum Norra games with like any of the Norra decks, you're just going to get smoked in all of those. And like if you wanted to swap out the Leona for any of the current iterations of Leona, Katarina, like we like to play, or Leona plus Kale is the new kind of up and comer. Opponent wasn't doing anything with the Aurelian Souls or anything. They were just doing the standard Daybreak game plan and just shutting us down super hard. Now, granted, that last game was one to where a base of having Spirits Unleashed would have looked a lot better, but I'm not seeing it across the board. I thought this was pretty terrible. And these like results that we have here in the games that I'm actually putting forth in the video aren't that different from the results that we are putting forth in my practice games. And so I don't know. I'm not seeing where that kind of space was as to where, he would have been able to have a fair bit of success. And so it's like if you at least look at the good matchups list, you do see Rise on the list, which the Twitterverse was kind of up in the air with the Rise actually being a good matchup. And I do see things in here like Twisted Fate Swain, which I could see you causing some problems, and decks that aren't relevant anymore like Aatrox Kane. It's just the decks that you're seeing turn up here, just not the ones that I feel like you ever want to be up against. And it's just the ultimate problem that you've run into with a deck like Yetis is you have a struggle against a lot of like board width, in the sense that Norra puts a lot of units on the board, you can't actually deal any damage through it. And then you see a deck pop up like Tristana. Tristana puts a bunch of fairies on the board, you can't actually attack through it. And so you run into a lot of problems like that, and you're really out here looking to play against stuff like Pirates. If you have the speed to get on board against Pirates, or any of the kind of like unit-based aggro decks are what you should be coming in and be causing problems to. But man, it just does not strike me as being the meta where this is actually any good. And so I think that this, really does kind of drive home that statement. Yes, RickoRex is a fantastic player. The number of rank ones we have, 0 compared to his multiple, should very clearly state that he's much better Runeterran than I am and the abilities that I have. But I think that this deck is really just kind of a combo of A, being better than the opposition, B, just kind of going on a tear, and C, having a run of good matchups. And so going out and taking like a 30-40 game block, it's not that unreal to think that all of those things kind of came together and he's able to push up to rank 1 under those, kind of run hot, run good circumstances. But is this a particularly strong deck to ladder with? No, this strikes me as something that's just not particularly good in this meta. But as we do talk a lot of these things to where now that the Runeterra opens and the daily gauntlets are here and everything, we do get a lot of more opportunity to think about things in terms of best of 3. And could this potentially be a decent best of 3 deck? Sure, I could definitely see the space to where you're wanting this in best of 3, but I think that is where you're wanting to land more along the lines of playing Ashe. The Ashe does cause a lot of problems against, say, a deck like Tristana Atrocity, as to where your game plan is based on one unit going really big. And so if you're looking at Tristana, Pantheon, Varus, those just kind of really go tall and OTK style units that get completely smoked by having a bunch of flash freezes. And that's the kind of space to where I could see a deck like this making a bit of prominence, as to where, Varus is ultimately really popular. You don't want to ban him in your best of 3 lineup. You're looking to come into Freylord and play a bunch of flash freezes. Okay, gotcha. Now, the problem with playing Ashe LeBlanc in best of 3 is your matchups are super polarized, right? You really crush a deck like Varus, you can't win a game against something like Pirates. And so I could see moving towards the Yetis as getting in that kind of middle ground, as to where you're like, okay, I'm going to ban Pirates. I'm going to have like a 45%er matchup against a lot of these mid-rangey decks, and then we're going to crush Varus. Like, I could definitely see this fitting into that kind of space and into that landscape, but I don't think this is a good ladder grinder, and I don't think the meta has really kind of shaped up to be in that kind of space. I think the prominence and the excitement around this deck is really kind of tied in to those run good kind of feelings, and I think the meta report that you see out here on Runeterra.ar is much more in line with what you're going to be seeing. I think this is not a particularly strong deck, and so nonetheless, good games. I had fun. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way. Had a good time watching. So this is Bust, and we thank you for being here.